I spent 50 hours playing every single Five Nights at Freddy's remake that I could find. From the very first FNAF remake ever made back in 2014, all the way to an Ultimate Custom Night remake with over 800 animatronics. And I'm going to be ranking them from the absolute worst to the best. But there's only one problem. There's 20 of them. So, let's start with FNAF, but Lego? Oh my god! Released in June of 2022 by Rolio20, LEGO FNAF is exactly what it sounds like. It's a complete overhaul of FNAF 1 completely into LEGO. Not just the office, but the cameras, animatronics, menus, and even sound effects. Are the footsteps Lego? That's crazy. So, Night 1, which started off with the infamous FNAF 1 phone calls. But something's off, because the phone guy is Lego as well. This is just one of the many tiny Lego references in this game, but it's FNAF 1. You don't need a phone guy to explain how it works. Bonnie and Chica are active on Night 1, and it's a pretty typical first night. So while Past Me is... Let's talk about the differences between this and the original FNAF 1. The main difference is pretty obvious, but wow is it well made. It has the same polish that the new $60 LEGO games have, down to the tiniest details. We even have who we play as in FNAF 1 in the top corner, aka Michael Afton as a LEGO minifigure. But it isn't just the graphics that have changed, because when you get through the first night pretty easily, or if you're like me, run out of power and almost die. Am I dead on Night 1? No, okay. That was too close. You'll notice that you gain studs after the end of each night. These can be used to purchase items in the store. For example, plushies. In the phone version of FNAF 1, these do absolutely nothing and cost real life money. But in LEGO FNAF 1, they're jump in place to indicate that something has happened. Bonnie and Chica's plushies bounce up and down when they leave your door. Foxy's plush bounces when he leaves Pirate Cove, and Freddy's when he is already inside your office.
You dickhead. Oh my fucking...
There's other items in the store as well, like trophies for the menu screen and entire reskins for the pizzeria and animatronics. Kind of like Fortnite skins, but for murderous furry robots. Although these items are really expensive. In a normal playthrough of nights 1 through 6, you won't be able to afford anything in the store aside from the plushies. And to make it even worse, you only have 3 lives. If you lose those 3 lives by dying, you'll lose all the studs you haven't spent yet, making getting these cosmetics and trophies even harder. It would have been way better if these skins were locked behind a Night 5 completion, or discovering a certain secret. But talking about secrets, during Night 2, I got jump scared by Chuck E. Cheese.
What?
Every time you flip down your camera, the mouse himself has a small chance of appearing. Bonk him on the nose and he'll give you 1,000 studs to spend at the shop. Why? Don't ask questions. But while I was playing Night 5, I noticed something weird. I pressed Shift-Tab to see how long I've been playing the game. This opens the Steam overlay, showing information on what your friends are doing, how long you've been playing, and the game you're playing. But it doesn't say I'm playing Five Nights at Freddy's. It says I'm playing Space War.
What is Space War? What?
You see, Space War is a game that everyone on Steam owns, but it's hidden. In order to play a game on Steam, that game has to be in your library. So if you ever install a pirated game, it will tell Steam that you're playing Space War, since everyone has it. But that means that this copy of LEGO FNAF that I've installed from a random website is actually a pirated version of FNAF 1. But why not download the game from its original Game Job page? Well, I may have forgotten to mention that the LEGO company themselves obliterated this game. They submitted a copyright claim to GameJolt within weeks. Apparently, when you take logos and designs from a $12 billion company, it doesn't usually end well. Just like how Night 5 wasn't ending well. I was at 5 AM and had 16% power, but then Foxy struck, taking 10%, leaving me with just 2% left, then 1%, then 0%, then...
Please, dude, please. I'm gonna lose my studs. It looks so goofy. Oh my god. Oh, please don't kill me. Oh, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't call you goofy. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god.
The first FNAF remake out of the 20 I'm completing in this video, done. I'm going to be ranking every FNAF remake I play on this tier list here, purely based on how it took the original and improved it. Honestly, it takes the original FNAF and makes it a completely new experience with the LEGO designs, while still preserving the charm of the original. It's cute, it's fun, unlike some of the other games in this video. This game was actually supposed to be an entire series, with LEGO FNAF 2 and 3 being already planned out. Yet now, due to the copyright claim, the only remaining parts of them is the LEGO FNAF 2 game drop page and the LEGO FNAF 1, 2, and 3 trailers on YouTube. It's really upsetting how we missed out what could have been a fan favorite series of the FNAF community, purely because LEGO don't want their kids brand associated with dead kids, which is something I thought I would never say, but overall, A tier. Moving on to FNAF Plus. I've already milked this game dry with some absolutely diabolical clickbait, so I'll make this quick. If you don't know, in August of 2023, the official FNAF 1 remake by FNAF was cancelled due to drama. So, developer and YouTuber Lost Pool Play took it into his own hands to fully remake the game from trailers and teasers posted by FNAF. It follows the exact same FNAF 1 formula that we're so familiar with by now, but it's entirely rebuilt from the ground up, with graphics that I'd expect from a $60 AAA game. The lighting, cameras, and especially animatronics are, atmospheric, to say the least. Not to mention the small things that Lost Will Play added, like the hidden camera that requires a code. Enter 9284, and it shows someone bleeding out inside a suit. Who are they, and how long have they been there for? Also, the kitchen camera has a rare chance to finally work, but the feed displays something I feel like we weren't supposed to see. Oh, and before each night, there's a fully 3D minigame taking place in a dining room. You're given a ghost detector, and you have to look for paranormal activity. Anywhere your flashlight flickers and the music stops, there's a ghost. This is a direct reference to one of the FNAF Plus VHS tapes, where a child enters the pizzeria past midnight to check for paranormal activity, which really doesn't end well. Like, come on, you enter a haunted pizzeria in the middle of the night and you expect to leave? In my first playthrough of Lost Pool Play's FNAF Plus back in 2023 now, I struggled a lot due to how aggressive the animatronics are. I'm talking Freddy leaving the stage on night 1. In the original game, the earliest he will ever leave is late night 3. But this time around, I absolutely swept through this game, beating nights 1 through 5 on my first try. Even though my headphones forgot how to play audio in the middle of night 2, I genuinely to this day do not know what the happened there. I cannot explain how loud that is. But how did I beat the entire game without dying? Well, the power in this game is beyond forgiving. You can keep one door shut the entire night and be perfectly fine. So I did exactly that, keeping an eye on Foxy and closing the door when Bonnie appeared, easily managing to get to the very end of night 5. But right before you beat the night, the puppet appears in your office, bringing you to a cutscene. He explains to you that he is your brother, and 6 years have passed since he was killed by William Afton. But his friends, referring to the other animatronics, kill each and every night guard, thinking that they're the person that killed them. Please, burn this place down, save me, and save my friends. And then it boots you to the main menu. There is nothing else to this game, since shortly after it was released, the game received so much backlash for using AI to clone Scott Cawthon's voice that not only did Scott Cawthon himself make a statement, but the game was cancelled and taken down. Lost Will Play might have been building up his own story here, but we'll probably never know. Despite that, solid S tier. It feels like an improvement upon FNAF 1 in every single possible way. This is how you make a FNAF remake. But why does it look weird all of a sudden? Well, this is Geometry Dash. Someone remade the entirety of FNAF Plus in a $5 cube game. Finally, my 4,000 hours on this game will come in useful for a video. On the 30th of December 2023, Twitter user InXGD previewed a playable prototype of FNAF Plus, showing the office, animations, and even jump scares entirely made in Geometry Dash. The next day, they previewed working doors and lights, then a fully functional title screen, options menu, and even Easter eggs. And on January 6th, they tweeted out 9 numbers. Put these 9 numbers into the Geometry Dash search bar and you have yourself a fully playable copy of FNAF Plus in a mobile game. It's pretty much the exact same as Lost Will Play's FNAF Plus remake, but a bit funny looking. The main difference between this version and the original is that each night is 9 minutes long, but it's Geometry Dash, and if you don't play this game, then you probably don't know about the mod menu that all top players use for quality of life features. And within this mod menu, there's a speed hack option. So I cranked up the speed, and like I said, you can keep one of your doors shut the entire night. So I sped through this entire game, literally. This game doesn't go on the list, because if you asked me how this was made, I would have genuinely no idea. It gets a new tier because how? But now it's time to move on to something a bit more scary. This is FNAF Battington Edition. Developed by Battington, this game is FNAF 1, but from the depths of hell itself. If you live under a rock, Battington is the creator of some of the most disturbing pieces of FNAF media ever made. He makes analog horror which can only be described as nightmare fuel met with FNAF VHS. My favorite VHS tape from him being The Horror Attraction, where a young boy gets stuck in an endless loop going round and round the same Fazbear Entertainment ride until he's killed by the very ride itself. So when he released his own fan game, I dropped everything to play it. Going into the first night, you'll immediately notice the gang is entirely redesigned. Something about these designs lands so perfectly in the uncanny valley, where it doesn't look real, but it looks way too good to be fake. Instead of following Scott Cawthon's style like nearly every other remake on this list, Battington created these animatronics much more in the image of the retro Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. A real animatronic pizza place founded in 1977 that has gone bankrupt multiple times, yet still has over 500 restaurants to this day. Battington's versions take direct inspiration from these, down to the smallest details like the swirl design in the eyes and the fabric stretching where the eyes have been shoved into the endoskeleton. They are genuinely the closest you can get these animatronics to looking like they exist in the real world, which is beyond surreal. The cameras are also completely covered in static, covering up any imperfections, making it look that much more real. For the gameplay itself though, it is exactly the same as FNAF 1. There's zero difference. But don't worry, because all the Easter eggs from the original remain, including Golden Freddy, although he looks very different compared to the other animatronics, and a lot more like Showbiz Pizza's animatronic designs. Another real animatronic pizza place that was popular in the 80s, yet shut down in 1992 due to bankruptcy, which is suspiciously close to when FNAF 1 takes place, and I swear that's a coincidence. After you beat this game's first and only nights, that's literally it for the game. I'm gonna give this a C tier, as there's really nothing new added here, aside from just a bit of nightmare fuel added to the experience. So, moving on to FNAF 1 Rewritten. Developed by .e, FNAF 1 Rewritten is a remake that takes place in an alternative universe to the original series, where the story ends at FNAF 6, cutting out all of the sci-fi elements of the Steel War era, aka FNAF, but it actually ends because oh my god. This game is the typical FNAF 1 experience, but of course visually revamped. The animatronics in this game have such a cute redesign. Bonnie's got red straps, Freddy has white gloves like that one sign in the movie, and Chica eats more. I don't know. There's also a ton of cool gimmicks that randomly happen in the night, like the monitors glitching out, missing kids posters randomly appearing around the restaurants, and the merry-go-round randomly set. Why is there a merry-go-round in the middle of the dining room? But starting at night 3, the gameplay is massively shaken up from the original. Because if you open up the notebook in front of you, then you'll see that a spirit is writing to you in the book, and they know you. But they also tell you that Freddy is feeling a bit more quirky than usual. Freddy just breaks every law of physics in this game, because during night 3, he will start teleporting across the restaurant. In the original, he'd follow a set path until he reached your door, and then he'd never go back. He'd just stand there menacingly. But in Rewritten, whenever he laughs, he can move anywhere in the restaurant. And if you can't find him on your cameras, then he's probably right at your door. This makes it so you aren't just spamming Pirates Cove in the main stage over and over and over. And honestly, this mechanic sucks. I spent the entire rest of the game just spamming cameras, and I could sometimes never find Freddy for hours at a time, to where I just started randomly closing my door in hopes that he wasn't there. Especially on night 4, where he moved so fast that if I even found him, he'd just teleport again seconds afterwards, so there was no point. If you get to night 5 though, the spirit in the book tells us that if we really want to help them, then we have to leave our office, the only safe space we've ever had during this entire game.
Oh, I'm in free roam now. What the f?
You're now directed through the entire pizzeria, where you get to see the whole band performing on stage. I got completely mesmerized by this and went completely off the path that the game wanted me to go, like a moron. You're supposed to go left towards Pirate Cove, where Foxy starts chasing you down a hallway.
Run! Oh, holy.
But don't turn around, because right behind you is the corpse of Phone Guy from the infamous Night 4 phone call. You're then directed into the restrooms, and I think my friend that I was talking to at the time perfectly described how I was feeling here.
Nah.
Walk towards this number pad, and you'll notice that 4 of the keys are shining. And yeah, it's 1987. Of course, the code is 1987. Like, ooh, scary bite. Get over it. And inside this back room is Fredbear and Spring Bonnie hung on the wall.
Oh my god, they hung Fredbear. They hung Fredbear. No!
You now have to run for your life back to the office, and then night 5 begins. This night is entirely different because of everyone's favorite yellow bear. Golden Freddy will occasionally laugh, signaling that he's feeling a bit self-conscious and doesn't want you looking at him. So you have to flip up your camera or otherwise. This mechanic is really unforgiving, especially if Golden Freddy activates while Bonnie or Chica are right outside your door. Combine this with Freddy's teleportation, add in Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, and this night becomes incredibly difficult. And after 2 hours of grinding this night, it finally happened.
Power off at 5 AM. It's my 3rd time, dude. Yes! Yes! I never have to play this game again.
But after, you're thrown into the best extras menu from any FNAF fan game that I've ever played. You're completely free to roam the entire pizzeria on the day. You can see the animatronics up close and read the developer commentaries left by .e. Very similar to what games like Cry of Fear did.
I don't want to tell you why I made this. No.
This game is definitely an improvement upon the original FNAF 1 formula, and even though I'm not a big fan of Freddy's or Golden Freddy's mechanics, I still enjoyed the game overall, so putting it in A tier. But up next is the most popular FNAF remake ever made. Developed by Zoktar, FNAF Co-op is a remake of not just FNAF 1, but 2, 3, 4, and Sister Location entirely in Roblox. Since its release, it has quickly gathered 82 million plays and millions of unique players, completely destroying official games like Security Breach and player counts. Last time I covered this game, it was honestly the worst video I've ever made, and I feel like that's fitting because this game is just beyond scuffed.
Yo, Freddy's in the room!
What do you mean Freddy's? Okay.
So I gathered a bunch of my friends and hopped into FNAF 1 with just one goal: to beat the hardest night, 420 mode.
The game plan, right? So, we defend the office as much as possible, right? But the second that we run out of power, we all run from the office down this hallway into the employees only room. Then 2 people stand here, and then one of us stands over here.
Alright, let's go.
Let's go.
How do you start it? Oh, I started it.
420 mode.
Well, I think Bonnie's at the door.
Chica sir.
Okay. It's Zero. It's Fish and Jero. That was fast. I've just left
Okay,
Ben
Foxy's gone.
completely.
No!
I just have to keep Freddy on main stage. You guys have to do doors. I'll just keep Foxy and Freddy at bay. Freddy just moves too fast. There's nothing I can do to stop him. Why are we using so much power?
Okay, someone's right door.
No, run, we've lost. She's in.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yo, I'm actually smashing Bonnie, bro. Oh wait, no, it's a guy.
What? Yeah, that's a guy. It's true, bro. Okay, I do. No. That was good though. That was good.
Yeah, Bonnie's actually pretty. Foxy's gone. Shut the door.
That was not Sugoi.
Foxy.
No,
Foxy, yeah.
Oh my god.
How are we gonna get to the office?
We just run. We run and hope. We run at 2%. Okay, do you want to get ready to run?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Alright, let's just go.
Bonnie's coming.
Bonnie's not gonna come. Oh my god, Bonnie was in the room. Okay, we just go. Check Bonnie. Where's Bonnie?
Good.
Guys. Alright, 2 people stand by the door. You guys stand by the door. What do you mean, where's the door? Stand by the door.
No, Alex, you first.
Leave before
Mwah.
dark. Okay, relax, bro.
Bro, we are finished. 2 a.m. 24%.
Oh, it's over, yeah. Okay, we go. Come on,
No, we're dead.
you guys both dead.
I died.
Damn, what happened there?
Bonnie was ready, bro. Bonnie was in the closet.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Oh, yeah.
Alex, stay at the back, and then I'll stay at the front, and then Ben right behind
Yeah,
me.
I need.
I'm ready to tase, man. I'm ready to tase.
Yo,
We're back.
Chico.
Oh, did I tase him? And after nearly 2 hours of trying, we got bored and played Roblox basketball. No, I fell out. There's really not much I can say about this game, to be honest. It's just FNAF 1, but if it was really scuffed and in Roblox. 420 mode is literally impossible. I was gonna give this game a C tier purely based off FNAF 1, but me and my friends literally tried everything to beat this night, and it really highlighted how badly this game is put together. You can't stall any animatronics with the cameras at all, and even Foxy, who you can stall, feels random and completely unfair. The power is also so unforgiving. Even though I'd paid actual Robux to upgrade my power consumption and made every single adjustment possible to save power, we were still running out of power at early 4 a.m, leaving us with only 2 options. Hide in the parts and service room, where you can survive around 2 hours with insane luck, or pay real life money to boost the amount of power you get at the start of the night. We also tried FNAF 2, 3, 4, and FNAF Co-op's own custom minigames, and to be honest, it was really boring. It has the same vibe that multiplayer games like Lethal Company do. Being stupidly chaotic, but only because I was playing with friends. Despite the tens of thousands of dollars that this game has made, it improves in pretty much 0 ways upon the original, and their own minigames are lazy at best and barely functional at worst. F tier. Talking about terrible FNAF remakes, we're now moving on to the Return to Freddy's, which needs absolutely zero introduction. This is the worst Five Nights at Freddy's fan game ever made, no doubt. And I can say that because the creator is allegedly a very weird person. Made in late 2014, The Return to Freddy's was originally supposed to be a fan-made 3rd installment of the series, as a guess of where FNAF would go next. How do I know that? Well, the developer, BFP Films, originally called the game Five Nights at Freddy's 3. This was before the release of Five Nights at Freddy's 3. I mean, he got to the point with the name, but just a bit too much. And because this was one of the first FNAF fan games ever made, people believe this was the actual FNAF 3. You can imagine Scott was not happy when he had a few thousand emails on why he shadow dropped FNAF 3. And why it was so bad. Due to this confusion, BFP Films added fan made to the game's title, but Scott still got so much criticism that he had to reach out to BFP Films and ask him to take the game down or change the name entirely. So, The Return to Freddy's was born. The game itself is FNAF 1, but no doors because the mask is back from FNAF 2, but this time with the scrapped toxic meter. If you don't know, during the development of FNAF 2, Scott Cawthon toyed with the idea of a toxic meter that built up whenever you had the mask on, but it was scrapped because it was a bad mechanic. Oh, and also there's a lot of stolen assets, like how BFP Films took Candy the cat, cropped his face onto Toy Bonnie's jump scare, and renamed it to Sugar the cat. Not to mention how literally every single animatronic movement in this game is entirely scripted, meaning that every single playthrough plays out the exact same way. Surprisingly, this game is still available on GameJolt from a re-uploaded collection, along with the 4 other entries and a book entirely written in Windows and Notepad. To be fair to the developer, he was probably the same age as iShowSpeed's oldest fan when he made this game, and also it was like 2014, so the bar for FNAF fan games was just astronomically low. Still, F tier. But we're not done with The Return to Freddy's yet, because on December 23rd, 2019, another The Return to Freddy's remake overdone by Blackboy74 was released. A complete reimagining of the original 2014 game, but over 5 years later. And by reimagining, I mean like it's completely different, but it's still a remake of FNAF 1, so it counts for this video, I swear. You play as a grown-up orphan, having spent years stuck in a rut. So like any desperate teenager, you apply to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to earn some cash. Maybe you'll finally be able to afford Fortnite. Why did I write that in the script? This game finally isn't a normal FNAF 1 formula, because there's a few extra animatronics turned. So there's a button that makes your screen entirely white. It'll be relevant later, just trust me. For night 1, only Bonnie and Chica are active. Bonnie coming from the left hallway, but not stopping at your door. Instead, he'll enter through your office and you have to put on your mask. Chica will come from the right and attack from the door though, which you shot sideways? Sure, I guess. Overall though, night 1 is a breeze. Like, it's never usually that bad in any of the games. Unless you're like me. Oh, the mask.
I forgot.
On the second night though, the phone guy laughs at you for making up the fact that the animatronics are moving.
I know you got some good imagination, but those robots moving around?
And then conveniently tells you that you should shine the west hallway from time to time. Basically, Foxy becomes active this night, and instead of running to your door, he kind of just stands in the west hallway. Like, running is this guy's whole thing in the original. He was the first Markiplier jump scare. Did he get halfway this time and need a break? To get rid of him, you just have to flash the lights until he... On night 3, phone guy mentions that an employee was supposed to enable a fat midget character and says that he could probably crawl into the vents. Did I ever mention that I hate this child so much? Every so often, Balloon Boy will enter your vents, and you have to shine your lights at him until he goes away. He is by far the most annoying, inconsistent character, and I died because of him so much. But that's not it yet, because phone guy also says the bear might start moving around too, and... basically, it gets real. This is until night 5, where phone guy finally tells you about the lights button that I've kept accidentally clicking so many times.
See that gray button on your left?
Huh?
That one still works, actually. Maybe you could get some use now if you were to hallucinate that yellow bear.
The what? The huh? This is Fredbear, who is just a total hallucination, just a shadow monster. Don't worry about him, he's harmless. Just press the button whenever he appears in the door, blind him and yourself, and he'll go away. But when you beat night 5, that's kind of just it. Even if you go into night 6, Phone Guy just talks about how Fazbear Entertainment is basically firing you and him. So you'd expect some sort of cutscene when you beat the night, but there's nothing. So, really fun, well-made game that's a massive improvement from this, but the ending was such a nothing burger that it just bumps it from an A tier to a B. So, moving on to FNAF 1 Deluxe Edition. Developed by Mr. Freddy 64, FNAF 1 Deluxe Edition is FNAF 1, but, with subtitles and achievements? I don't want to be mean, but like, why does this exist? It doesn't improve on FNAF 1 because it downgrades the cameras with some weird filter that makes them look really blurry. And for the average player, that's literally it. It's just FNAF 1. But there's a twist, because if you go to the custom night and type in 2023, you unlock Night 8. A completely different custom night where the original cast is nowhere to be seen and are replaced with the FNAF 3 animatronics. Springtrap isn't fooled by the doors. What does that mean? He isn't fooled by the big metal barrier in between me and him? Does he just phase through the door? You have to use the FNAF 3 audio lure on the camera to keep Springtrap as far away from you as possible. Throw in the other Phantom animatronics who each have their own random mechanic, and therefore you have the most random, out-of-place night of all time. Night 8 is such a cool idea, but it's just executed so poorly in this remake. F tier. But Mr. Freddy 64 made a FNAF 2 Deluxe Edition, and this time round, it's a bit different. Like how the game isn't square. I don't know what Scott was doing with FNAF 2 and 3, but I guess he was like, something's missing from my game. I know, make it 4x3 and then stretch it out on widescreen monitors so it looks beyond scuffed. FNAF 2 Deluxe Edition thankfully corrected that. Oh, and also, the animatronics move slightly. They jiggle a bit, that's kind of it. Perfect for your favorite FNAF YouTuber to scream at as Withered Freddy does a 1-second animation loop. It's funny because every Let's Play YouTuber who played this game spends the entire video looking for tiny differences. So YouTubers like Fusion Z Gamer, who only really play fan games for quick, easy videos and only get to night 4 max, end up basically posting a FNAF 2 Let's Play in 2024. But, of course, if that was it, then I wouldn't be including this game in this video. Because just like FNAF 1 Deluxe, if you unlock the custom night and enter in a secret code, you unlock Night 8. And it's so much better than the first Deluxe game. In this night, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie are active. These animatronics aren't even in the original game. Fredbear acts exactly like Withered Freddy, meaning you need to use your mask. Spring Bonnie acts the same as Withered Foxy. The puppet is also active and seems normal, until it moves to a different camera, and this is Shadow Bonnie, who completely blocks your vision on the cameras. But worst of all, Balloon Boy is active. Although, it's only a few animatronics that are active, so it can't be that bad, right? Oh, I was so wrong, because I died over and over and over and over and over and over again. Fail after fail. I have over 30 gigabytes of footage from this singular night. I had the worst luck. Got to 5 AM multiple times just for Spring Bonnie to kill me out of what seemed like pure luck. I have genuinely never gotten so upset in a FNAF game. Honestly, here is what I even questioned if I could pull off this video. I wanted to make it the best I could, showcasing these fan games that developers have put hundreds of hours into, and I can't even beat the nights. But over 6 months later,
I came back to this game, and I finished this. Yeah, I used the no music box cheat. Game too hard. I've tried this for so long, and I just can't do this. This game gets a C tier, because unlike FNAF 1 Deluxe, the 9 to 8 is executed a lot better, and there's a lot more effort put into it. Developed by Fiznom in early 2020, another FNAF fan game open source was supposed to be a complete reimagining of FNAF 2, but with its code fully public. This way, aspiring game developers could download the game's files and look at how it was made, hopefully popularizing Game Maker Studio 2 within the FNAF fan game community, where most people use ClickTeam Fusion 2.5. Maybe developers can make their own games based off of this one, or Photoshop Candy the Cat's face onto every single animatronic, inject it with every computer virus imaginable, and re-upload it to GameJolt. But when a beta version was released to the public, Scott Cawthon quickly shut it down for being too close to the original FNAF 2. And because of this, the open source part of the game was never released. Thank God. But also, the game was never even finished. The beta we got was just a custom night, with a permanent flashing watermark in the bottom right that can't be removed. So, since the game has been long taken down, I downloaded the game off some random person on itch.io, prayed it wasn't a virus, and got to playing. So, while past me is doing that, what are the differences between this and the original FNAF 2? Well, literally everything. Calling this a free copy of FNAF 2 is a crime. Firstly, the office is entirely different, and while it still has the whole no doors concept, it's a lot darker, more detailed, and very claustrophobic compared to the original. The cameras are nearly entirely redesigned, with the Mango now having her own Pirate's Cove, the storage room having FNAF 1 vibes, and the entire restaurant having a darker, more gritty look to it. I genuinely love the restaurant in this game. This is what FNAF 2 should have looked like. Also, the mask you wear in the office is now a Bonnie mask, which is such a cool touch. We never really figured out where Withered Bonnie's mask went in the original FNAF 2. We kind of just accept it's gone now, so making it a part of the game's mechanics makes so much sense. This man confuses me. What are his motives? What is he hiding? Why is he so dripped out? Oh my god. Apart from the visuals, the gameplay is nearly entirely different, starting with the mask. In the original FNAF 2, there was a scrapped toxic meter that I talked about earlier in the video. In FNAF 2 OS, this mechanic is re-added to the game in the form of an effect in the corner of your screen, causing the screen to slowly fade out when you have the mask on for too long. Also, Toy Chica actually has an office animation now, whereas in the original FNAF 2, she didn't for some reason. Like, the animation was in the game files, it was just never used. So Freddy also now waits for you to put on your mask before he enters your office, basically making him the same as the other toy animatronics. Balloon Boy also now disables any camera he is on and laughs at you every time you switch to it. He also slowly drains your power instead of just taking away your batteries, so him entering your office is still a death sentence, but now you get to die slowly. I hate this child. That's it for the animatronics, but the power received the biggest change out of anything. In the original FNAF 2, your flashlight only had so much power in it, so spam the epileptic fox too much and the flashlight will eventually stop working. But in this remake, it's the exact same as FNAF 1. Use the cameras or your flashlight in any way and it will drain your power. Run out of power and the puppets will kill you, which is the puppets' only role in this game. The music box is just gone. Personally, I never really minded the music box, but it's objectively a bad mechanic. If a lot of animatronics attacked you at once in the original, you'd often die to the music box running out, ending the entire run due to being completely overwhelmed. But in FNAF 2 OS, the music box mechanic is replaced with everyone's favorite health and safety hazard, Mango. Mango now has an entire Pirate's Cove to herself, and he hates the flashlights. Every so often, you need to visit their camera and flash it a bunch to stop them from leaving. But if Mango does manage to leave his cove, then she'll rush into your office through a vent in the top left, killing you shortly after. So you think that this game just replaced the music box with another just as boring mechanic, but that's where you'd be wrong, because the withered animatronics are completely revamped. In the original game, withered Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy would all roam the pizzeria until they entered your office. Then you'd have to quickly put on your mask until they went away. A cool mechanic in 2014, but not so much anymore. So in FNAF 2 OS, you have to find them on the cameras and shine your lights at them to make them go back to parts and service, subsequently moving them away from your office. This mechanic makes every single camera actually useful, where the original FNAF 2 might as well turn the camera system into a big wind music box button. Is that everything? Basically, pretty much every animatronic is revamped, and in a good way too. This game takes the already fun and chaotic gameplay of FNAF 2 and makes it even more fun. Easy S tier. And also, it led to the development of a small little game you might not have heard of.
I don't like to be mean to these fan games, but you guys do, so I'm about to start my villain arc. If another FNAF fan game open source was taken down for copyright infringement, then FNAF Rewritten 87 should have been obliterated off of Game Jolt. It entirely feels like a replacement of FNAF 2, but visually altered with some mediocre animations that add pretty much zero value. The camera menus also look so scuffed. Like this is an objective downgrade. F tier. But Echo, why are you being so mean, I hear you ask? Well, because of this is FNAF Rewritten 87 revamped. This is still in development as of this video's release, but .e is outdoing herself here. This is shaping up to be one of the scariest FNAF fan games ever made, purely because of the quality. Every time .e reaches a milestone on her Palestine Children's Relief fundraiser, she releases some previews for the game. Like, look at Freddy. He looks terrified. Oh my god, wrong image. Moving on to Fazbear Nights 1, also known as FNAF 1, but entirely free roam. And I'm continuing that villain arc, because this game is so scuffed. The restaurant layout is entirely changed into the world's hardest maze. You could die in here. This is like the back rooms, but FNAF. I spent 5 minutes trying to find the office. I started hearing stage 1 of The Caretaker playing and... never mind. The office is where you'll spend most of your time in the game, because if you ever leave your office, it's pretty much an instant death sentence, because these animatronics, these old 90s animatronics, can run. And from night 3 onwards, Freddy activates, and he's the fastest of them all. So from that night onwards, you have to deal with Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy going Mach 5 around the pizzeria. It makes the game so genuinely difficult. And if you camp at the office and close both of your doors, then Freddy will literally sit there and wait for them to open. It would be an easy A tier, but I spent an hour on night 4 and didn't even get close to beating it. Every Let's Play YouTuber who played this game just died on night 3 or 4 to Freddy, and then called it a day. Fusion Z Gamer, Dorko, Plenty, Eamon, and Markiplier. What's the point of doing a Let's Play if you never even beat the 5 nights? TCEG, the developer, even released an update to the game. It added quarters you can put in the machine. You can get a bag of chips as a really cute addition, but it put a band-aid over how impossible the game is. And if the king of FNAF, the second person to ever beat FNAF 1's 420 mode, is too lazy to beat it, then so am I. C tier. But that's not it for Fazbear Nights yet, because shortly after the release of the first, TCEG made another one. Fazbear Nights 2 is the same as the first, but now it's all FNAF 2 themed. This time around, you have an objective to complete each night, like exploring the pizzeria, collecting trash, or unlocking a room. And oh my god, it has the exact same problem, but so much worse, because this time around, there's 10 animatronics. Each night, you have to complete the task before the animatronics activate, and then it's a wild goose chase around the entire restaurant, with you desperately trying to survive and also keeping the music box wound up because of that puppet. But what if you don't complete your task for the night? What if you ignore it? Well, on night 2, I was tasked to collect 10 pieces of trash, and the 10th piece was bugged. I literally could not pick it up, and at 5 AM, this happened. If you move, I will die. Like, why is everything red? Oh, they're all active! I died! Oh my god! Oh my god! No. Every single animatronic becomes active, so you better complete that objective real fast. I died over and over and over again on night 3. I have 20 gigabytes of footage of me just dying repeatedly to the same thing over and over again. This game is the only FNAF remake that has ever made me like actually scream. TCG, if you're watching this game is absolutely terrifying. Don't get me wrong here, but after the 10th death on the 3rd night, the 500-pound, 6-foot murderous animatronic running at me became not scary and more of a chore. This game desperately needs an update to make it easier in my opinion. So as of now, C tier. So, why don't we move on to something a bit easier. Released by Lost Pool Play in April of 2023, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 Plus had instant success. But since then, the game has been basically scraped off the internet, to where I couldn't find a download link for this video that I was willing to click. But I have to cover this game, as it's one of the best FNAF remakes ever made. It takes the boring gameplay of FNAF 3 and improves it with extra gameplay mechanics, a revamped office and camera system, and it takes Springtrap's old slow jump scare and replaces it with this. So, let's start with night 1. The game starts with a cutscene where you walk towards Fazbear's Fright. It's It's a long cutscene. You're then thrown into your first shift, where you immediately notice the remade office. This time, it's again not square, and RTX has been turned on. The first night is just like the original, meaning completely nothing. But this gives you time to check out the cameras. These cameras look really atmospheric and polished. Most of them, at least. Why do these arcade cabinets have zero texture to them? If you turn to your left and open up the maintenance panel, you'll immediately notice the dancing helpy, but also two new buttons. Reset cooling system and hold to use ventilation. Starting with the reset cooling system. Like in the original games, there's occasional ventilation errors. But unlike the original game, if you get a ventilation error, you actually start to lose oxygen. If it depletes too much, the screen gets darker and darker. But it doesn't actually kill you, it's kind of just hard to see. If you want to stop this, you have to hit the reset button. Next up, the hold to use ventilation button. You'll notice a bar slowly depleting here. If that reaches 0, Springtrap will just appear at your window and spam a few arrows, resulting in pretty much instant death. To avoid this, just keep it wound up, basically like the music box from FNAF 2, but instead of the puppet attacking you, it's a rotting old man in a suit. Over the next 5 nights, Springtrap and each phantom animatronic slowly become more and more active. Oh yeah, the phantoms. They've gotten a few changes from the original. For example, you can now stop Phantom Freddy by flicking down your blinds using this lever when he gets to the end of his walk animation. The puppet has also been changed. In the original, he just stare you down and scream at random times in the night, but now, when the puppet enters your office, you have to quickly flick up the cameras to get rid of him. If you manage to get through all of these new mechanics and beat night 5, you get this ending. But if you type the word help on your keyboard, you'll get a secret ending.
Hello? Tell me, do you want to see the house? They were really nice, my boys. Thank you. That's all I need.
Yeah, no idea what that was, and we'll never receive an explanation because, like I said earlier in the video, every Plus remake by Lost Pro Play has been completely cancelled. I give this one an A tier. The animatronics and environment look amazing, and it fixes a lot of the issues that the original has, like Springtrap's jump scare. But the lack of a good ending makes the game feel incredibly unfinished, and also Springtrap literally never enters the vents. I have no idea why. Moving on to FNAF 3 Deluxe. Developed once again by Mr. Freddy 64, FNAF 3 Deluxe is a full revamp of FNAF 3, and it's not square this time. So while I'm playing the first night, let's talk about the differences between FNAF 3 Deluxe and FNAF 3, starting with Springtrap. He is entirely animated now, with a brand new jump scare, and it's a bit goofy. Like, this frame and this frame are 0.06 seconds apart. What happened? But apart from that, it seems to be just FNAF 3 with a few graphical upgrades and a ton of settings. Until Night 5, where 2 new faces appear, Phantom Bonnie and Chrome Freddy. 2 completely new animatronics exclusive to FNAF 3 Deluxe. To get rid of Phantom Bonnie, you just have to close the cameras. Chrome Freddy will also sometimes appear in your office. He'll glitch for a few seconds, and if you don't play an audio lore, then he'll jump scare you and end your run. So not only do you have to be constantly aware of Springtrap, but also some irrelevant Springtrap wannabe. Get through Night 5 and you can play the infamous Springlock minigame, which is a bit different from the original. One aspect that I've kind of ignored in the previous Deluxe games is that all the music is custom made. Sound design is definitely a strength of this series, especially in FNAF 3 Deluxe. It makes the final minigame feel so climactic, and the 8-bit style of the music fits so perfectly. But once again, if that was it, I wouldn't be including this game in the video, because like every other FNAF Deluxe game, there's a secret 8th night. But FNAF 3 doesn't have a custom night, right? Well, if you beat Night 6, aka Nightmare Mode, then you not only unlock an endless survival mode, but a custom night with a bunch of challenges handpicked by Mr. Freddy 64, including 920 mode. But that's not what we're here for. Type in 11415 and you enter Night
8. But Springtrap is gone. He's nowhere to be seen. And the box in the office, the one that was filled with the shells of the previous toy animatronics, it's empty. Well, if you check your cameras, it's because it's come alive. This is the amalgamation. It acts very similar to Springtrap, but just incredibly aggressive and ignores audio lures if you try to lure it to the same camera too much. I love the mangle design of this thing. It looks straight out of Dormitibus, but without the pedophilia. This night is also made harder in other ways, like how the video errors disable everything on the cameras. So if the amalgamation enters defense when an error occurs, it's just over because of how aggressive it is. Night 8 in this remake really feels like a final boss. It almost works the same as Ultimate Custom Night does. Springtrap burnt down with Fazbear's fight at the end of Night 5. Maybe we're playing as him, but this is his purgatory, being hunted down by his own creations. This remake fixed the issue with FNAF 3 that is so overlooked. The original just isn't a perfect conclusion to the trilogy, but FNAF 3 Deluxe truly fixes that. I was really harsh to the first two FNAF Deluxe games, mostly because I felt like in a lot of areas, they downgraded the original. But FNAF 3 Deluxe not only improves everything it attempts to, but adds so much that it's basically a brand new experience. You can see Mr. Freddy 64 improving as a developer over these 3 Deluxe games, and honestly, S tier. So, moving on to Revenant. Developed by Kamara, this is a remake of FNAF. You get it at this point. Do I have to explain it every time? Revenant is honestly by far the most fun I think I've ever had playing a FNAF fan game. So, you open the game and instantly get hit with a fully 3D cutscene, which to this day I still don't know what it's about. It's literally never explained. So while I'm playing Night 1, aka the Nothing Night, let's talk about the differences between the original to Revenant. Starting with the obvious graphical upgrade, which is pretty much the same as every other remake. All of these remakes seem to look amazing. Open up the camera system and there's 2 menus this time around. One for the vent cameras and one for the main areas. These massive menus are really irritating to deal with as they completely overlap each other. But at the same time, they add so much tension of desperately trying to find Springtrap while dealing with the clunkiest camera system ever. Open up the maintenance panel and oh my god, it's just a console. You have to type out what you want to reset, which is also incredibly clunky and messed me up multiple times. This sounds like it would be the most frustrating fan game ever, but honestly, the gameplay is so forgiving that I spent the next 5 nights just keeping Springtrap on the first camera and talking him the entire time. Every so often, he'd enter the vents and I'd just bring him right back to camera 1. Aside from that one time where I completely lost him and...
It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Oh, it's not fine. Oh, it's very much not fine. It's not fine at all. I'm so fucked.
But if you beat Night 5, there's one last night called Finale. You're immediately thrown into a dining area. It's completely destroyed and there's only one way to go, leading to the bad ending. To get the good ending, you have to go to the custom night, set Springtrap's AI to 13, enable the puppets, and go to camera 9. Here, you have to play a series of minigames, ending with you luring William Afton into his Springlock demise and freeing the children. I've always absolutely loved FNAF 3 storytelling. It's by far the best in the franchise. So seeing a remade version that nails that storytelling in a much more accessible way makes this an easy S tier. Still crazy to me that the original FNAF 3 really had us literally clicking wall tiles to find out the fate of furry robots. How did we even find that? Anyway, I searched for a while for FNAF 4 remakes, but only one really stood out to me. Developed by Fredinator, When the Lights Go Dim is FNAF 4, but completely endless. The game opens up in a bedroom, and you play it as a child named Chris. A girl on the phone tells you the game's pretty simple mechanics. Freddy will appear in the window. When he does, you have to close the curtains. Bonnie and Chica will appear in the door. If Bonnie's there, you have to shut the door. If Chica's there, you have to shine the light in her face. Foxy's in the closet, and of course you have to flash a light at him. Why is he epileptic in every single game? Chica's cupcake will sometimes appear under the bed, where you have to shine your lights at him. And finally, Fredbear. If he appears in front of you, you have to pretend to sleep on the bed. Do that for 6 minutes, and boom, you've basically beaten the game. I love these short and sweet games. One of my favorite that's a similar length is My Pop Goes. It's nothing complicated, but it's just a bite-sized game for you to enjoy. So, B tier. Moving on to Sister Location. I mean FNAF 6. Yeah, no one likes Sister Location. I literally could not find a single remake of it. So this is FNAF 6 Freak Show. Developed by Marco Antonio, this game was made in just 2 weeks. The developer has also stated that they hate the game and it was also cancelled, which is a surprisingly common theme in this video, but there was a demo released of what could have been. Opening the game, you're immediately met with the classic pizza throwing minigame, but when you complete 3 stages, instead of
you can leave. Suddenly, you're a post-scoop Michael Afton, walking past Scrap Baby into the FNAF 6 pizzeria. Keep walking left and... hitting new game, you'd expect to be greeted with a tycoon segment, but no. FNAF 6 Freak Show takes the cheerful tycoon elements of Pizzeria Simulator and throws them out the window because no joy is allowed here. Instead, you get... I should probably explain how the game's nights are split up. There's 3 different segments to each night: salvaging, office, and chica. So starting with the salvage. Since there's only 2 nights in the demo, you only ever salvage Molten Freddy and Lefty. In the original, the animatronics were a series of PNGs that changed whenever you flipped up the paper. But in Freak Show, they move whenever you flip down the paper. After you've done the salvaging, you're sent to the office section. This is pretty much entirely changed from the original. Not only the office, which is redesigned with way more elements of Scott's art style than the original Pizzeria Simulator that is, you know, made by Scott Cawthon, but in Freak Show, the noise elements of the original are completely gone. You had to be careful of how much noise you made while completing your really boring tasks, which were essentially click button, flash events, repeat. But in Freak Show, you have 3 skill-based tasks to complete which don't make any noise. And by skill-based, I mean like monkey play Osu, because task 1 is a timing task, which is surprisingly hard. I only died once in my entire playthrough, and I am ashamed to say that yes, it was because of this task. Task 2 is hold button, and task 3 is typing in a code that you're given. Pretty easy, but while you do this, you have to watch out for Afton, Molten Freddy, and after the first night, Lefty. You can use the audio lore to push them away from you, or there's a new vent section where you can block off animatronics by closing off vents entirely. Pretty much the exact same as FNAF 3. In the original Pizza Sim, you never even saw the animatronics, even though you spent half the night staring into the abyss. But in Freak Show, oh my god, you can see them. Survive and complete your tasks and you can log off, where you're sent to the final part of the night, the Scrap Chica minigame. You're in a completely dark room, given nothing but a paranormal detector. You have to move this dial towards the direction of the music 3 times, but while you're doing this, Scrap Chica will occasionally move off the chair. If she does, you have to flash her with the light until she returns. It's a really easy minigame, too easy, but it adds a bit more depth to the game and uses a scrapped character from the survival logbook. Because this is an unfinished demo, that's literally it for the game, so I can't give it too high of a rating. But I'm gonna put it in B tier, as it improves on FNAF 6 in every single way, but takes away all of the happiness and joy. Bring him back. If you made it this far, then congratulations. Welcome to the final FNAF remake of this entire video. This is Ultra Custom Nights, a complete revamp of Ultimate Custom Nights with over 800 animatronics. From every single animatronic that's ever appeared in the main series, to every official merchandise spin-off character, to Candies, Popgoes, Baldi from Baldi's Basics, and of course, we have to find out what happens if I set everything to 20, giving us a score of nearly 150,000. For the record, 50-20 score is 10,000. That's 15 times 50-20. Yeah, that's about right. But it begs the question, what is the highest score anyone's ever gotten? Well, there's an entire community behind Ultra Custom Nights, and after years of slow progression, Frogger25 managed to get a 69,420 score by breaking the game completely. That would be it for this game, because I can't exactly cover every new animatronic in this video, but if you head back to the main menu, there's a campaign mode, which is supposedly 3 hours long. It contains a bunch of theme challenges hand-selected by the developer, usually based on different themes like Christmas, FNAF 3 animatronics, Popgoes, literally every animatronic is Popgoes. What happened? Overall, that's an easy S tier for this game. It expands on Ultimate Custom Night in literally every single way, while bringing together so much of FNAF's history and community into one game. And well, this is the final completed tier list of every single FNAF remake. Mostly. Thanks so much for watching, and if you want to try out the tier list for yourself, then it's just below the subscribe button.